The Jazz Singer.
The Jazz Singer.
One of the most famous movies, but not because it's good.
You know, I like this movie.
Yeah, I did not. And not for the obvious reason.
Yeah,
I also didn't like it for that. I didn't like it for that reason. Obviously.
We're going to leave aside the obvious horrible thing about this movie, at least in this very moment. We're going to talk about it. But okay. So this movie is off. You know, people are like, this is the movie that brought us out of the silent era into the sound era.
Yeah. Or at least heralded the shift.
Mm-hmm. It was a big popular sync sound movie that had voices and not just sound effects.
Yeah.
In
dialogue.
Yeah, dialogue and singing in this movie. It wasn't just a little experimental film that was playing at a very particular theater. And it also used a sync sound method that was much more easily rigged onto older projectors. Because you didn't need like basically a new projector to use it. You could just kind of hook a record player, like a turntable, onto a projector, and then have it mechanically linked to the projector. And that was how they achieved that. That was how Vitaphone worked, which is what this used. So it was much more broadly seen, I think, than these other ones. And there are so many movies that are like, there's so many essays or documentaries or movies about this era that are like The Jazz Singer. Like, people saw this movie and it inspired them and it changed everything. And you know what? I was inspired.
You get it? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it seems like cliche or whatever, but like I saw the scene of him speaking and singing in the club. There are some other parts with like kind of less close up sync sound.
They are singing, but it's not synchronized to the film.
Yeah, and it's much less like you're seeing a person's mouth move and they're talking. And I saw it, and after spending years in the silent era, you know, I was like, oh my god, like this is it.
It's like that is the scene that every film montage uses, that every movie about this era uses as like, everything's changed. We need to. This sound thing is coming down the pipe. Like we gotta rethink everything. That scene, it does function that way. You do watch it, especially since most of the rest of the movie's silent anyway. And having watched all these movies over years, and you get to that, and it's just like, oh yeah, they're talking now and singing. Damn. And it's like, there is a real palpable energy to it that is different and exciting and new, and like, it is bringing you into the film in a way that previously has just not been possible.
It's corny, but I felt it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of this project is about us kind of being able to reevaluate the way that film history is told, right? We can kind of experience things in a simulated real time so that we can get a sense of how revolutionary something is or is not. And I think for Birth of a Nation, for example, that is one that deserves nothing. It's a movie that is not that remarkable and is also horrific, where this, I think it deserves the praise that it gets. I think it feels special. Yeah.
I mean, I think that scene is good. I think the rest of the movie around it,
it's okay.
Significantly less so. Before we get into the real meat of it, there's two quotes that I pulled up that I think are great, just context for this movie being made. One is from Harry Warner, who's one of the Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers made this movie. This quote is maybe apocryphal. He might not have actually said it, but it's, who the hell wants to hear actors talk, when he was being pitched, synchronized dialogue. The other is from D.W. Griffith from 1924, which is, "We do not now and we never shall want the human voice with our films."
Which is weird because I think D.W. Griffith did have like a talking portion in one of his movies once.
Well, hey, you know, maybe change his mind after 24, but that is I guess the world that this movie is coming into, is that it's like people aren't just not used to talking in movies. People are actively against it. Or at least people in the industry are. They're like, "What? No, gross."
That is sort of like another part of this era of film that is found out, that is talked about and like is part of the story, is this kind of resistance. People thinking that it's like it's not artful to make a movie with talking, right? It's too tell, don't show,
Right.
and yeah, it's
Which,
there
I
are a
mean,
lot of
isn't
people.
incorrect entirely. I mean, like, I think we've, especially in the last few episodes of years, we've seen like just some amazing visual storytelling being done, and just some really great subtle use of performance and of camera work and editing and all of this stuff, just to be like, to do all this stuff and to tell really universal kind of classical stories. They're like, yeah, you don't need words for this. This works on its own.
I do like to imagine a kind of history where the silent era could have gone on for a bit longer, so that people could, because I feel like they were just figuring it out, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Like they were just like, oh, here's how we make amazing art in silent films. Not that like stuff wasn't being made before, but like it was like people were finding ways to use the medium that could not be done with the kind of obviousness of speaking.
And also because of the technical limitations of recording sound, then we see a real kind of, or I think we're going to see a shift in sort of how movies look a bit.
Yeah.
Also,
one other thing is that very shortly after this, next year, which we may talk about more, but as a result of this movie and the change that it brought on, a lot of organists and pianists lost their jobs, because after this movie came out in 1928, people pretty much only wanted sound movies. They were by far the most demanded thing of studios.
I mean, it definitely wasn't an overnight shift. I mean, I think probably by like the early 30s, by and large, every major release was a talkie. But I mean, we have a good couple of years of silent movies left to watch.
They're still straggling, but like I think that.
But it's pretty quick. It's a couple of years and it's done.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people in studios were clamoring to like add sync sound to movies that didn't have it, because it was a good selling point. And they were a lot of the early 1928 movies were like The Jazz Singer, where they had partial like scenes that had sync sound, sync dialogue, that kind of thing, and then the rest of it was a silent movie. But in the next year, we have our first all talking picture, and that's the kind of thing that they were like, oh, like we got to get on this, basically.
I mean, as dramatized in the movie The Aviator, Howard Hughes was filming Hell's Angels when this movie came out, and was like, I think we gotta reshoot this whole thing with sound. And he did. I think there's a lot of silent footage in that movie still. I don't think he reshot everything, but I mean that is a talkie. So yeah, this is based on a play, oddly a non-musical play. All the songs happen off stage in the play.
Oh, weird.
That is partially inspired, or like loosely inspired, based on Al Jolson's real life. Also, weirdly, the play not starring Al Jolson, who stars in this movie.
Yeah, this weird kind of roundabout situation.
Yeah. This movie is directed by Alan Crosland, who directed Don Juan in 26, which was a sync sound feature, but without dialogue. And Warner Brothers was having a lot of success with their other Vitaphone shorts and features with, sync music, and
Mhm.
they decided to take the plunge. They were kind of in a tight spot financially at this point, and they were like, we're betting it all on talkies. And yeah, like you said, there's relatively little sync sound in this movie is mostly a silent movie.
Mhm.
And there's a couple scenes with talking, and a few more scenes with, it's mostly singing is the majority of it.
Yeah. But honestly, the moments in between the singing where there is dialogue is where the magic really happens, I think.
Right, because it's almost like the first couple times it's a silent movie, someone will sing a song and the song is playing over the scene, and it's like, okay, there's a song on this, cool. But then it's when the song ends and it transitions to just dialogue where it does feel there's that like fundamental shift in terms of how you're experiencing the movie.
Yeah. And it seems so casual too, where the dialogue is just this kind of almost riffing in between songs. Like it's not it
I mean, it literally was riffing. It was unscripted.
but it's like that's where the magic is. Yeah. I gotta say, speaking of those other scenes, for a movie that is like the first movie with synchronized dialogue and songs and that kind of thing, I think that it is doing something that feels like pretty thoughtful for its time, which is that it has like J cuts and L cuts where it like there are parts where he is singing where you kind of expect, right? We're showing this new technology. We're going to have the camera locked on him in one shot for the entire time that he's singing. And it's like that for a while, but then it goes and the audio continues when it cuts to a reaction shot from the crowd. There's another scene,
or just other things happen, like other parallel action happening that isn't in the same room.
Yeah.
That is like singing happening over someone else doing a thing. That actually might be maybe one of my favorite things about the movie is the way it uses that.
It's really fantastic.
On one hand, might be a way for them to kind of cover up sync issues. Like for the first 2 songs, it's not synchronized with the film at all. Like it's there, you can tell that people are singing and also there is a song happening, but it's like they don't line up perfectly. And so they're cutting away a lot. But it's still this sort of like this singing is happening over this other scene, which is something we just haven't seen before.
I mean, but with that cutting away, it's not even, it's like cutting, like you were saying, it's cutting away to other places in space. So the singing and like what that singing means is hovering over those other scenes in another
it's almost
place.
Like
it's ridiculous. It's so good.
The diegetic singing is then scoring a different scene happening at the same time. Kind of.
You see this in modern movies. Somebody's like, I don't know. There's one character that's in a church and they're singing a hymn, and then like everyone's watching them, and then their buddy is executing somebody, and but then the music stays across the whole thing to draw a parallel. And this movie is doing that. Like the first time they're doing music,
because it's the song is then commenting on whatever we're cutting away to. Also,
oh my god, it's so good.
That's true. This movie does some things well. I'll give it that.
Tell me what you hate about it.
Well, should we talk about the obvious one or the less obvious one?
Let's start with the less obvious one.
The less obvious is that I don't feel like this movie earns its like emotional catharsis at all. I did not connect to this movie emotionally on a character storytelling level, other than like it's well directed. Alan Crosland does a really good job integrating the sound into it, and like I said, the editing during the singing stuff, fantastic. The actual story being told, I did not connect to, and I thought it was almost actively working against itself sometimes.
I guess I did, but maybe I was just so won over by the gimmick that it got all mushy. This movie is basically Fiddler on the Roof.
I definitely quoted Fiddler on the Roof in my notes, so
it is about a guy who is the cantor in a synagogue in a very Orthodox Jewish family in New York City, but he dreams of singing heathen music.
Jazz, which I don't think any of the songs in this are actually jazz songs. I think they're all just like pop songs from the 20s.
It's like pop. It's like kind of that like big bandy kind of not
it's
quite
closer.
jazz.
I mean, like, right. It's like there's a little bit of ragtime influence, a little bit, but it's like on the. It's not really fully going into what I think of as jazz, even jazz from this time period. And I also found it very unintentionally funny how often people say the phrase jazz singer. Like, it's my dream. I just want to be a jazz singer. And then it's like, you'll never amount to anything. You just want to be a jazz singer. Like, it's used as both this, like, impossible dream that he's chasing and also this, like, pejorative, like, the worst thing you could ever be. A jazz singer. How dare
He's out
you?
there smoking jazz cigarettes. And so his father discovers him as a child singing in like a club, singing ragtime jazz music.
Raggy time.
Those
music.
raggy times.
Raggy time songs.
And he says, "This flies in the face of tradition." And
and I have no son because he beats him with his belt, and then the son runs away because he said, "If you hit me, I'm gonna leave," which, you know, is fair.
Yeah.
So he does,
and he goes to Los Angeles.
He is disowned, and he goes to Los Angeles, where he's a jazz singer, singing questionably jazz songs at the club, eating eggs like a madman.
And yeah, so during that first part in New York City are those first two non-sync songs. One is him as a kid singing in a club, but it's all very far away. You can't really see his mouth or anything like that. The other one is some like Orthodox, like the people doing the cantor singing in the synagogue without him, while he is, and that's the part that's juxtaposed with him gathering his things to run away. And
abandoning his old.
But then when you flash forward to him as an adult, and he's a jazz singer,
it's also established that he is in a long line of cantors, right?
Yes.
Like, it is his family legacy kind of.
He is the decanter
to sing in a synagogue. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's spitting in the face of his legacy, and he's spitting in the face of God, who gave him this beautiful voice so that he could sing God music and not sing heathen music, basically. And he's also, his name was, as a kid, was Jakey Rabinowitz, and he has changed his name to Jack Robin, which I feel like, you know, this
what is more American than that?
This movie, I feel like it's got to be like commenting on like how people will like un-Jewishify their names to like make it big in showbiz.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of, I mean, in ways that are often very unpleasant in this movie, ways in which he is sort of like affecting his own identity in order to pursue showbiz fame.
But it's also like a way of him sort of betraying his heritage, which is like something that the movie is kind of complicating. It's in dialogue with, because like I think the movie thinks that his parents are being too strict, but it also, maybe the movie thinks that he shouldn't have thrown the baby out with the bathwater and keep some of his Jewish identity.
So this is the famous scene. He's in the nightclub that he goes up to sing, and he sings a song, and immediately following it, he says, in words that you can hear with your ears, "You ain't saying nothing yet."
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet. Wait a minute, I tell you. You ain't heard nothing.
Oh.
Or no, you ain't heard nothing yet, right? I messed it up. I actually don't remember if he says seen or heard. He should say heard. It'd be funny if he says seen.
I think it's seen.
It's like, we've seen a lot, Al.
You ain't heard nothing yet. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Super famous line of dialogue. I mean, the first line of dialogue in a feature film.
Yep.
So yeah,
This is also the like you could very well say that this is the first musical movie as well.
yeah, true. Because it is a musical. I mean, it's all sort of diegetic music. Like it's all people going to a place and singing. There's no of the kind of magical realism, but that still counts.
And I hadn't heard nothing yet. I had stars in my eyes, baby.
I mean, this line of dialogue is what every movie about this era, whether it be documentary or like fictional narrative thing, everyone uses just that clip of him saying that as like, God damn it, there's sound and pictures now.
I'm out of a job.
Yeah. And then after his second song, there is a long applause break where everyone's applauding and banging on tables. And it goes on like a little bit too long to the point where I'm like, do they want us to be impressed that we can hear the applause? That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the thing that I hate that Marvel movies do now, where they hold for applause after people show up. And actors have to be like, why am I pausing here? And they're like, because the audience will like it when they see
They should just add in
like,
a laugh track to Marvel movies.
They're not far off. I remember in older Marvel movies where I used to miss dialogue because people were like freaking out over stuff. And I actually miss that. I miss going back to them multiple times to like the first Avengers movie. I saw like 3 or 4 times in theaters, and like I caught new stuff every time.
You can't stop
because,
that
like,
Whedon quippiness. It can't be stopped.
But people will try though. And they have. Anyway, I like Marvel movies. I don't want to go off on a tirade about them. I just think it's weird for any movie to be like, hold for applause. People are gonna love this, and it's like, all right, calm down. It is weird to go back to intertitles after dialogue. It does feel really like weird. Once this scene is done and it's like, oh my god, this is something to hear and to see, and then it goes back to just like, then he's talking to people at the club and it's just all intertitles, and I'm like, hang on, we just heard him. How come we can't hear him anymore? I think this movie, you know what would have put this movie over the edge, and I even with all the ugly bullshit.
I was gonna say the thing that would have put the movie over the edge is no blackface, but yeah.
Well, yeah, that would significantly improve it in my eyes for sure. But if it had been a silent movie up until that scene and then it was sync dialogue the rest of the time, I mean, come on, that would have been
really cool. That would have been maybe. I mean, I'm not here to super criticize this because I think
like Wizard of Oz style, it goes from silent to sound.
That would have been cool. I mean, or if the whole movie was silent, but then he had a dream, and the dream was sound.
That's if George Méliès had made this movie, it would be that.
I mean, that's The Artist, which we'll talk about. Which we'll talk about at the wrap-up episode.
The Artist does not have any footage from this movie in it, does it?
I don't remember.
It's like the only movie about the 20s that doesn't just like, and now a scene from the
I haven't seen The Artist in like 10 years.
So, Al, or Jack Robin, I'm just going to call him Al.
Jakey Rabinowitz.
Jack was a character in the last movie. I can't call him Jack. I call him Jakey.
Call him Jakey.
So Jakey
as his mom
gets a job.
him.
He meets a lady at the nightclub, and goes back to New York for a Broadway show that he's in.
He's made it big. He's been trying to make it big, and there was a producer in the club when he spoke for the first time.
One of them produces. And so he shows up to his brand spanking new Broadway show. And there's, I think, a very funny scene of like the chorus girls are like talking behind his back, being like, he doesn't have any chance with this gal. Like, no way.
They don't really develop that, I guess. They just like,
yeah, I know that went nowhere. Which another knock against this movie. One of those chorus girls is played by Myrna Loy, who is gonna get famous later on. We'll talk about her more. He returns to his old home. His papa has a gray beard now, which is how you can tell that he is old. That time has passed. But so he returns home and he talks to his mother and plays her a song.
And yeah, that's another part. I feel like the other kind of big scene,
scene
where he is talking.
This is the most dialogue in the movie, I think. Is this?
Yeah, he's talking to her while he's playing the piano to her. It's just like old times. She's loving it. The dad's not home to ruin everything yet. So and she's like, I haven't seen my son in 15 years.
Yeah.
So he's speaking to her and like having actual speaking to her.
And because it's like improvised riffing, it's very like back and forth bantery,
which
stuff.
feels even better, honestly. It's like because it feels naturalistic. Which gives it this like, you'd expect it to be this mid-Atlantic accent kind of like I'm performing kind of thing, right? And it's
what, you got a problem against mid-Atlantic accents now? Then I have a real problem on this show.
I got a real problem on this show, let me tell you.
I got a real problem in the show, see?
But yeah, it's like we're just bursting into reality with sound, which is great.
Yeah.
Except for the obvious glaring issue of them using only one highly directional microphone. So he sounds good, but the mom is speaking at like normal volume, but it's just a whisper.
Yeah. Hey, problem with early sound is it's like very hard to record dialogue properly. They hadn't figured it out yet. Yeah, he sees that they took down his spooky portrait of him as a child and replaced it with a painting, and he's like, what happened to my picture? And the mother is like, took it down. And then the papa returns home and immediately says, stop, and all the dialogue cuts out, which is actually kind
That's
of
good.
A neat little trick.
This footloose ass dad over here.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed is that the frame rate is noticeably a little slower in the silent scenes. So like they look like they're moving more quickly because it's probably a lower frame rate. I think the sound scenes are 24 frames. I'm guessing the rest of the movie is probably closer to like 18.
That's interesting. I mean, I thought that the soundtrack would have been on the Vitaphone as well.
I don't know. I definitely noticed a distinct difference in the silent scenes in terms of just movement.
Interesting.
I shouldn't move around while I'm talking. It's going to get picked up.
Yeah, you're going to sound like the old lady.
I am. But, so, his dad is still mad at him. He's like, you've dishonored your family by singing jazz in a theater. And Jakey is like, it is as honorable to sing in a theater as is as a synagogue. It is as valuable a thing to do what I'm doing as to what you're doing and what you want me
He's
to do.
basically like, God gave me a great voice, so I'm serving God by like giving it to people.
Which here, I mean, I don't know. I might as well talk about it now. I bump up against the like thematic point of this movie, which is this sort of like, how much do you follow like your family's legacy and like their hopes and dreams for you? How much do you like, create your own path and like pursue your own ideals and life ambitions and all this stuff? And I just feel like this movie is like, on one hand, his parents or his dad like disowns him entirely. It's like, you're going off and you're singing in clubs. I have no son. I will not acknowledge you. I'm gonna throw out your creepy portrait. I won't talk to you. All of it. And he's like, I just want to sing, Dad. And it's like, I think the movie wants us to take Jakey's thing. It's like, no, like he wants to pursue his dreams. Like this is all about, but it undercuts it so much by making his dream be, I want to do minstrel shows, Dad. This is what my life has led up to.
Okay, well, I mean, to be fair, like he wants to sing, and the specific show that he is in on Broadway is a minstrel show.
But it's like all of the portrayals of like what his dreams of stardom are awful, and like not just the minstrel show stuff, just like the people don't treat him well. It's like it's
showbiz.
I know, but it doesn't like commit to it. I don't know. At a certain point near the end of this movie, I'm like, what is this movie trying to say? Because it is breaking my brain a little bit.
I mean, it's a little confused. I mean, the movie exists in a reality, in their own internal reality, where blackface is not on its face horrific, right?
It exists in a parallel universe where it's not awful.
One other movie that we watched for this podcast that we're not talking about, because this is already going to be our longest episode, is College, which had another Buster Keaton, which had another blackface scene, which acknowledges the fact that blackface is horrible on its
Right.
face because he does it, and then when the black people around him find out, they start chasing him with knives.
Yeah.
It's
still a bad scene, and it shouldn't have been in the movie. But
yeah, no.
It's this the jazz singer's whole thing of sort of like it's sort of showbiz story. I feel like is very either confused or just not really well told.
Yeah, I mean, it's about a character who doesn't know what he wants, right? It's about a character who is of two minds, of two worlds.
Yeah, but I feel like it doesn't make that into compelling drama, that aspect of it, anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. It works.
And maybe
for
it's
me,
the fact
but...
that Al Jolson isn't really an actor; he's a singer.
Mhm.
And so when he's just like riffing on the piano, it's like, okay, yeah, this is fun.
He is a singer, by the way.
But when he
oh, go ahead.
but when he's asked to like do a dramatic scene where he has to like choose between his dying father and his dress rehearsal, which is sort of like, dude, go to your dying father. It's the dress rehearsal. It's fine.
They said this is as important as the real thing.
Yeah. That
if you
might
don't
be
go
where
to
the
the
movie...
dress rehearsal, you'll never be respected in this town again.
That might be where the movie completely lost me, where I was like, this is horseshit.
Well, yeah, and then he ends up choosing his dad. It's this big...
Well, after the dress rehearsal he does.
Right.
So there's basically two scenes where he's asked to choose between his dying father and singing at the synagogue and doing this big Broadway show. And there's the dress rehearsal and there's the show in the evening. And during the dress rehearsal, the less important one, he picks the showbiz side. And then after that's all done,
right,
he's like, all right, I guess I can go visit my dying father now. And the dying father was like, I love you, boy. And it's like a dramatic scene, and he gets validation from his dad because he came to visit him. And then he chooses to go sing at the synagogue the night of the actual performance of the Broadway show.
So he dips out of the Broadway performance to do the thing that his father wished, and to be to be in tune with his, or commune with his dad before he dies. And there is this stake set up of like, if you choose this, you'll never work in this town again. And he says, I must choose family. I guess.
But then it's fine.
Yeah, I guess what you're saying is
then
that it completely undercuts that by saying like,
right?
Yeah, people got over it. It was fine because he's so good.
Right? He sacrifices nothing by going to the dress rehearsal, and he sacrifices nothing by going to the synagogue.
Haven't they read the book on screenwriting?
In both cases, the least interesting thing happens dramatically.
Yeah. I don't know. You're right. You are right.
What else happened?
Well, and then he does a whole blackface routine.
He does several blackface routines more than once.
I'm gonna say that the blackface routines are the worst part of the movie.
Yes, for sure.
I
like by a lot.
I'm gonna stake my claim
Hot
there.
Take. The showbiz girlfriend goes kind of crazy towards the end, and she's like, "This is your life. This is all you have." And it's like,
do you put your career above me?
Yeah. And then he's like, I guess I do, kind of. And she's like,
good.
Respect. Yeah.
You need to want it.
She gets really fanatical at the end in a kind of strange way. Right as he's about to go sing at the synagogue at the end, his mom says, if you don't sing with God in your heart, Papa will know. It's like, no pressure.
Papa will know.
And then, the Papa says, after he sings his traditional music again, he goes, we have our son again, and then immediately dies. So at least, they
wrap that up right there, yeah.
And then the movie ends with a nice big, blackface number, and the mom cries. She's
like, that's my son up there.
Yeah,
that's my wonderful booby doing blackface.
So, yeah, I didn't like this movie. I agree it does some things very well, and I think that famous scene that always gets put in everything is a great introduction to dialogue in movies, or to sound in movies. Like, as a sort of just like, this is the first time people ever saw this in this context. People had seen Casey at Bat or whatever before, but it's not the same. And yeah, audiences at the premiere. This premiered on October 6th, 1927 in New York City. And yeah, people went nuts. Journalists rushed out to the phones and were like, everything's different now.
You ain't heard nothing yet.
Yeah. The critical response was, I guess, a bit more muted. Like, people at the premiere were like, this is great. Critics were a little softer on it, or a little harsher on it, I should say. Robert Sherwood, who is a critic for Life, and who was like a big Buster Keaton supporter, his quote is, "I, for one, suddenly realized that the end of the silent drama is in sight," which is prophetic and accurate. He was like, "Yep, this is it. This is gonna change everything."
This shook up the industry, and it like made
for sure.
a lot of people feel unstable. Certainly,
I mean, that is not necessarily a positive or a negative about the movie. The other quotes that I found are funnier and kind of more negative. One described it as scarcely a motion picture. It should be more properly labeled as an enlarged Vitaphone record of Al Jolson in half a dozen songs.
I think that's overstating it a little.
And I think as the LA Times had a wonderfully backhanded headline, "Jazz singer scores a hit. Vitaphone and Al Jolson responsible. Picture itself second rate." Which is kind of how I feel about that movie.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a fundamental shift in the industry. It changed everything forever. The movie itself isn't very good.
I don't know. We've seen worse, you know?
It's wildly offensive.
Yes.
And it also is dramatically kind of inert, I think.
Yeah, fair. I think I dug the drama, and I was like, for most of the movie, I was like, I thought there's blackface in this, but we're just having a good old time right now.
You'll get to it.
And then
it's there.
And then yeah, that just happens. But I think that the parts that aren't blackface are good. And this movie, you know, I think that
there was a moment in this movie where I legitimately thought that he was going to leave the backstage of the show and go to the synagogue in blackface and sing traditional Orthodox Jewish songs in a synagogue in full blackface. And I was like, is that where this movie is going?
Oh man.
And I'm almost a little disappointed that the movie doesn't do that, because then at least it would be interesting.
He really does a whole like send in the clowns thing while he's putting blackface on, you know.
Right, he's like a racist clown. That I also wrote down,
which I guess is what blackface is being a racist clown.
Racist clownery, yeah.
I mean, I think another thing, this movie kind of speaks to some big things, even if it is a slight movie in terms of just the, you know, meat of what's on the script, because I feel like another assumption that I had before we started this project was that a lot of these movies were going to be wildly racist, right? And on the whole,
and they're only a little racist.
I don't know, like I'm kind of surprised at how little racism on the whole I see in these movies.
Maybe it's the fact that we're picking the cream of the crop in most cases. I also think it's usually a thing of, it's either nothing, it's either fine, or it's very racist. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of like sprinkled in between. Some of the Buster Keaton stuff is that way, where it's like there'll be one joke in a movie where you're just like, Buster, not a great look. For the most part, it's like, you know, like love letters to the Confederacy, or just movies that are fine.
Yeah, but like, you know, 95% of the movies are fine.
Yes.
And I was completely shocked by that. And so looking at this movie, it seems like a bit of an aberration as well, because not a lot of movies are doing this just casual blackface. Not a lot of movies are
not just casually, but kind of holding it up as like this like pinnacle of performance almost.
Yeah.
It's treated as this like very
it is weird that it just doesn't comment on it at all.
It does. I mean, it does seem like this movie is at least using it to kind of like, it is kind of a central part of like the narrative and the themes of it. Of, he is like covering up his own face and his own.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
you know, his own like family, his own, you know, historical back, you know, he's pretending to be something else
Yeah.
in the most, you know, insulting, awful way possible. I do think it at least plays a role in the narrative,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't an excuse for it, but it's like, well, someone had it. It at least is trying to make a point with
Yeah.
it, I think.
And I mean,
even if I also think it really kind of undermines a lot of the points this movie's making for me, because it's like, no, go be with your dying dad. Don't do a minstrel show.
so I guess so because this story was initially inspired by Al Jolson's story in the first place. Al Jolson did do, like, his main shtick was blackface.
Yeah. That was like his whole deal.
Yeah. This was like what he was very famous for. He did do other things, but like his routines where he sang the song that he sings at the end, which is called Mammy, he would sing that in vaudeville stages and that kind of thing. He was very popular for that reason. It is unclear to me the Al Jolson, and I need to do more research on this to speak like really confidently on it, but Al Jolson had some instances where he would stick his neck out for black colleagues. And, you know, what he was doing was this thing that Elvis did, for example, where he took black music and made it palatable to a white audience by having a white...
He's white?
What?
I haven't seen the movie, but there's the scene in the Baz Luhrmann Elvis movie where Tom Hanks is like, "What?"
He made it palatable to white audiences by being a white person singing it or doing it in blackface, and then brought popularity to this music, which, of course, you know, there are issues of appropriation, which...
Yeah, like the musical genre of jazz, for instance.
Right, yeah. But, like, I think that there is a way that at the time, and maybe other people at the time, maybe black people at the time, although I will not speak for them, like, could have seen it as like him doing his best to honor them, right? Within the capacity of what was available at the time. Blackface is probably not necessary, but
Al might have seen it that way. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are some anecdotes about him, like I was saying, like boosting up and putting his career at risk for the sake of black people around him, when a lot of other people might not have done that. But I'm not really prepared to speak on how good of a guy he was, you know. It could be complicated. You know, blackface was never okay, but, like, I think that it was not, in the popular understanding, it was not as cut and dry as it is now. Or even was 40 years ago when they made a remake of The Jazz Singer in 1980. 1980 with
And what do you think they kept? What elements did they think, you know what, let's not cut this out?
You know, not only did they keep it, but they jumped right into it. I watched the first 10 minutes of the 1980 Jazz Singer, and 7 minutes in, blackface. Are you kidding me?
Like, hey,
1980?
They're like, hey, audiences want that you know, that Jazz Singer magic.
Yeah. The thing that we remember about the Jazz Singer is it's horrific racism. That's what we all love about the Jazz Singer.
Yeah. A sort of ironic thing about this movie is that most theaters could only play it silently. So this movie played at a bunch of theaters without sound. It was also deemed ineligible for the first Oscars in terms of like winning one of the 2 Best Picture awards. So it won a special technical award for itself. It got a like, all right,
most sound.
Right. It got like a special sort of like, you did this thing that no one's done before. We're gonna give you an award. Don't worry about it. But we can't judge you on the same level as this other stuff. I think that kind of stuck out to me about it, that I have failed to mention so far, is that this movie feels kind of almost like the blueprint for like the musician biopic.
Yeah.
In terms
of
like,
yeah.
Dad, I just want to sing. Why don't? And then it's like the dad is dying, and it's like, I do love you, son. Like,
wow, you're so right.
Like that. That thing is like is still like movies came out in the last like few years that have that exact plot structure, you know.
Yeah.
Seemingly that is maybe where that came from.
It's a musician biopic with Fiddler on the Roof coding on top of it.
Yeah, but this is the beginning of the end for silent film.
I know.
We've seen it.
We've been
I've
doing
heard it.
this for so long, and the end is beginning.
Yeah. But, you know, we still got some great silent movies to watch,
Mhm.
and soon enough we're gonna have some great talkies to watch too.
Yeah,
So-
some pre-code racy talkie movies.
Right. Starting 29, 30,
hmm
that's like the rough start for the pre-code era, which is sound movies but before the Hays Code was fully enforced.